What's up, friends? Chad here. Back in 2020, the pandemic hit, and I got sent home from college. It was a hard time for me. I was going through a lot mentally, a lot of overthinking and rumination about past events, worries about the future. I had always grown up with, I had always had this like worry bone in me, right? I always had like an overactive mind that thought of things in like the worst case scenario. What if this happened? What if that happened? And it was at this time during the pandemic that I came across something online. It was a creator by the name of Alex Sedlak. Shout out Alex. He shared like a simple TikTok that a couple books changed his life. And me going through this cycle of over it, like anxiety and depression, not doing anything, stuck in a routine, and I didn't really I was struggling mentally, to be honest. I was like really having trouble with my thoughts, and they were taking a toll on me and my energy. So when I came across this, it sparked something in me to just want to experience some type of peace. And it mentioned that this book was a good book for people who overthink or want to find a peace and stillness in their life. So I bought it. I ordered it, it came to the house, and I'd never even thought of using books to like address my suffering or improve myself and be able to activate higher awarenesses or end overthinking and patterns like this. But it really dramatically changed my life. And I want to share with you the three big shifts, the main three big shifts that this book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, did for me that I've never experienced before a long time ago. This was a few years ago. And to this day, this remains the number one, spiritually moving book that it instantly allowed me to experience stillness and peace in my life. So I want to get into these three shifts for you so that you can experience more peace if you're someone who overthinks, if you're someone who's stuck in patterns of thought or stuck in negative thinking patterns and stuff like that, and feels guilt or responsibility for a lot of the thoughts and feels like that their mind is just like taking them in different directions, maybe twisting scenarios to make you feel like a bad person. This is like kind of the stuff that I was going through that this book helped me with. So the first shift that really dramatically changed my life, and I'm chilling on the roof, by the way, of my apartment complex. We have a beautiful architectural church behind us, which is awesome. The first big shift was that I am not my thoughts. You are not your thoughts. And this was like huge. It was a huge shift for me. And I know it sounds like derailing almost. It's like, okay, well, if I'm not my thoughts, then what am I? And I want to share this quote, and I'm going to answer that, but I want to share this quote from the book. It goes, "The beginning of freedom is the realization that you are not the possessing entity, the thinker. And knowing this enables you to observe the entity the moment that you start watching the thinker, a higher level of consciousness becomes activated." Now there's a key word there, watching the thinker. And that was from the book, by the way. But what Eckhart Tolle means here is you aren't actually the thinker of your thoughts. And this is huge. But what you are is, number one, you have the ability to observe your thoughts. It's like when you have thoughts, you see them there, you feel them, you understand them in your brain. But you are observing them, which means that you're not them. And that's a big shift. Well, what are you then? That's the next question. What are you is the observer of them. You are the awareness that's connected to source or being or God, whatever they call it. This is Eckhart's perspective, and this is what I've internalized as well. But you are the awareness of it. You are the watcher of these thoughts. And this was a huge shift for me to allow myself to disidentify from all the thoughts that were dragging me into bad places and negative thinking, And it gave me a break. It gave me a sense of stillness. And there's a practice that you can use. So here's like an action plan if you want to experience this for yourself. Start listening to the voice in your head as often as you can. You can be the witnessing presence. You can sit still in silence here. Like, you don't have to do meditation is like the normal thing for this, where you're observing thoughts as they arise while just sitting there focused on your breathing and then going back to your breathing. But you can do this throughout your day, and I do this throughout my day, where I just observe impartially, non-judgmentally thoughts that arise. Notice that they are arised, and I don't judge them as good or bad or anything. I just say, oh, that thought has appeared. My brain produced that thought, or the mind produced that thought. And it gives me this heightened sense of awareness and almost like vibrance of feeling like I have an extra layer of like consciousness. And it sounds super woo-woo, and I know this is like the biggest thing about talking about stuff like this is it sounds kind of like woo-woo saying it as someone who used to not really be into these spiritual concepts. But it was profound. So that's something that you can do if you go about your day, and the trick is to do it impartially, which means non-judgmentally. You don't want to judge the thoughts that are arising, because if you judge them, you grab at them and you start labeling them, and it causes more mental activity. And what you're trying to do is take yourself into your awareness of your true nature, which is outside of this mental activity. So if you don't judge it, or don't try to judge it, you're not responsible for that thought being produced. And I used to have some wacky thoughts that scared me. I was like, oh, why did I have that? Does that mean I'm like a bad person? Does that mean that does that like mean that I intend this thing? Or like, I used to have these thoughts go in all these different directions. And this has helped me instill a sense of calm in my life and be able to have a way to take myself outside of negative thinking patterns that we all have, that is a normal thing, and help me deepen the sense of the presence. So that's the first shift. And I'm going to go into the second shift, and this is going to be a kind of a longer video, but that's fine because we're talking about really important subjects here. The second shift is that time is an illusion. This was crazy to me when I experienced this one, and I'm going to help you wrap your head around this and experience it for yourself. So, to end the delusion of time for yourself, all you have to do is realize that now is all there ever is. And I'm going to explain. So, there's only ever today. There's only ever today. We talk about yesterday, we talk about tomorrow, we talk about last year, but it never actually is. It's not a real thing. It's just a concept. And this sounds woo-woo too, but think about it. You only ever wake up today. You only ever go to sleep today. You're never in tomorrow or yesterday. You know what I mean? You're only in today. I'm only filming this video today. And when tomorrow comes, I'll be in today, thinking back into a memory right now that I filmed a video in another moment, right? But it will happen today. It'll happen now. And when we think back in life on memories, it happens now. If I think back about like, oh, let me think about my back in the day. I'm doing it in my mind now. You know what I mean? It's me recalling a memory now. It doesn't happen at a different time. Everything is only now. And that was huge for me too, because it helped me realize like, holy crap, if I actually want to like experience life and live life, like I gotta stop dwelling on the past and worrying about the future, because those are only concepts. It's not actually what is like real, you know what I mean? And that takes you out of this like mind state of thinking in the past and going to the future, which it always does, and it brings you to this peaceful moment right here where it's like, okay, I know that I'm now, and this is all there is. And that was a huge shift for me too. And having that experience helped me dramatically just manage my obsessive worrying and overthinking by realizing that past and future are really just projections of the mind in this very moment. And when we think back on the past, it's not always accurate to what it was, and we can always analyze for endless amount of times. We're never certain about anything, but it's not like a real thing, you know what I mean? It's just a memory in the now. And when we think about the future, like we can't do anything about it, you know what I mean? So all we can do is just deal with problems in the now that arise. And yeah, we can use it for planning and recalling important information. And like, even if you know that you're gonna have to do something or some problem might arise in the future, you can just handle it in the now, and it will only happen in the now too. You know what I mean? So you don't have to waste your time worrying about it or thinking about it when it's gonna arise in the present moment. But anyways, that one's a big one too, and I want to share the third shift, which is true intelligence is activated beyond the mind. Now, I was homeschooled for a bit when I was really young, and then when I went to school, there were certain things that I didn't know, some general things about like history, stuff like this, and it made me adopt a belief that I was like less knowledgeable than other people, or even stupid or dumb. And this hurt me in the long run, and I didn't realize for a long time that I had this belief, but it stuck with me for a while. And so when I learned about this, reflecting back on this principle that true intelligence is a feeling, it's not a thought. It's not any sort of form of like memory or knowledge that you have. It's true intelligence is beyond the mind, and I'm going to explain it to you. By realizing that thoughts arise naturally and without using my brain so much, like you get in touch with your intuition, your what they call gut feeling, or what your heart is telling you, which are connected to your higher self, which are connected to higher intelligence. And this is outside of the mind. Your intellect is just like a function of your mind. Your intellect is a function of the mind, and it's a tool that you can use. But true intelligence and intuition comes from outside of the mind. It's not something that your mind produces. And this means that you don't need to think hard. You don't need to like extend your mind muscles to like be intelligent. And I would always think that I needed to like think really hard about something and really analyze things and to be smart and intelligent, when it's actually the opposite. And that was a huge thing for me. And it took a lot of mental load off of me, pressure that I had to like think all the time. And when you're in a more relaxed state and when you're observing your thoughts, you're able to use your mind as a tool, but also be in touch with higher intelligence that arises, your gut speaking to you, your intuition speaking to you, being or God speaking to you, whatever you want to call it. And that's how you really make good decisions and are able to come up with good creative ideas from your subconscious, because you're able to listen to them. It sounds woo-woo, guys. I know if you're someone watching this, I used to be the like most not woo-woo person ever, but experiencing these things to be a reality for me has really shown me that there's a lot of people out there that can benefit from some of this knowledge and experience that hopefully I help bring you today. So that's kind of the purpose of my channel, helping people who want to free their mind, activate their higher self, become more peaceful, and live a more high frequency life and increase their energy that is kept down from us by a lot of things in this world. So I'll leave it at that. If you want some help with anything that I shared in this video, if you want help living a higher frequency life, there's a link in the description where you can book a call with me. Happy to chat through anything that you find that a struggle for you in this area. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.